gravy train is a job where you can make a lot of money.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a very special usage that we'll look into later.
Okay. And how about this? A win-win situation.
It's when both sides, both people involved, will benefit from something.
Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and listen to our power dialogue.
After all this talk about over-tourism, where should we go for our next vacation?
I found one country we aren't visiting. This travel website says the government approved a $100 per day tourist tax.
They're shutting people out who don't have much money.
It looks like the government will be the only one on the gravy train from now on.
No, it says the money will be used to build community centers and better schools.
I guess it's a win-win for the locals and for tourists who can afford it. Okay, our dialogue, power dialogue, is on page 122. Let's begin. Peter says, after all this talk about tourism, where should we go for our next vacation? Our power pattern today is after all this talk about. Okay, this is a great pattern. What does this mean? After all this talk about something.
Yes. So after all this talk about is like saying, we talked a long time about this subject.
Yeah.
And now you're going to comment on that.
That's right.
So they've had a long conversation about over-tourism.
Sure.
And now Peter's saying, where should we go now?
Okay.
Well, we're talking about over-tourism.
Uh-huh.
Let's be part of the over-tourism problem.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Isn't it true that sometimes when we start to talk about food,
Yeah.
some of our openings, like we talk about food, and then we're like, after all this talk about food, I'm getting really hungry.
Yes.
I'm hungry.
Yes. Or sometimes we use this in an ironic way.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about a problem, and then we're going to do something that adds to the problem.
Okay.
After all this talk about pollution,
Mm-hmm.
let's go get in the car for a car ride.
Okay.
Like, you're adding to the problem of pollution.
Yes.
Because if you have an electric car, maybe it's
Sure.
fine, but a gas-powered car is
Right.
gonna put some CO2
It's like
into
half
the air.
joke.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like a half joke.
Uh-huh.
We've talked a lot about this problem.
Uh-huh.
Now let's be part of the problem.
That's right. Okay. After all this talk about is we've talked about this, and so I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
Okay. And Stephanie says, I found one country we aren't visiting. This travel website says the government approved a $100 per day tourist tax. $100 a day.
That's a lot.
Tax. That's a lot.
Just, not even do anything. It's just
Yeah.
added to probably to your hotel bill.
Right,
Yeah.
probably. So what does Peter say?
They're shutting people out who don't have much money.
Okay. So the country is shutting out people who don't have a lot of money.
Yes.
So to shut out, what does this mean?
To shut out means to exclude, to not include, to stop that person from coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So $100 we thought was really expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But rich people
No worries.
don't really care.
Right.
So it's not really a problem for them.
Mhm.
So the rich people will freely come and go,
Mhm.
and the people that don't have a lot of money will be shut out.
Yeah.
They will be stopped by that heavy tax.
Right. And there is that feeling of exclusion
Yeah.
if you shut someone out.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, right. Like, oh, you can't come in.
Business is over.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
That feeling of being shut out. Like,
Mhm.
it feels like these people can go in and I can't.
Yeah,
Okay. Not a good feeling.
definitely not.
All right. Stephanie says, it looks like the government will be the only one on the gravy train from now on. So this is an interesting expression. Gravy, Gravy. Now, this word often is used with the food gravy.
Yes.
It's that sort of like real rich sauce that you put on top of the mashed potatoes or, biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gravy, I don't think is very common in Korean food. I don't think that there's a...
No.
I described how to make gravy one time to a Korean person.
Yeah.
And they got really grossed out.
Yeah.
Because it's like you take a fat, so if you cook meat and the fat that's in it, you throw flour in it,
Mhm.
and you cook that flour, and delicious.
Oh my gosh, especially like around Thanksgiving when you have turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah, putting it on mashed potatoes or putting it
And
on
on the turkey.
fried chicken.
Oh
It's
my
really good. Mhm.
So, but what is this gravy train?
So yeah, this is a little bit of a different meaning. Gravy train is often some position or job that you have where you're making a lot of money. And the expression is usually riding the gravy train
Okay.
or to be on the gravy train. So it looks like the government will be on the gravy train. They're kind of saying it looks like the government will make a lot of money
Yeah.
from this tax.
Yeah. I feel like the reason why maybe gravy is there, and this is just my personal opinion, is that it's like rich in money.
Yeah.
It's like instead of fat,
The same way that
Yeah.
gravy has a lot of fat.
Yeah.
If it's a good position, it has a lot of that money.
Yeah, it's kind of like money train.
And it feels like you're not doing a lot of work for that money.
True.
It's like you just got lucky
Ah.
with a job that pays a lot
Yeah.
and you don't have to do a lot of work.
Don't we all want to ride the gravy train?
I would love to ride the gravy. I would buy like a season pass. I don't know. For the train.
All right, what does Peter say?
No, it says the money will be used to build community centers and better schools.
Oh, okay. So they're going to make, the government is not going to spend on themselves, but on the community centers and better schools. What is a community center?
So community center is often where it's a building in the community where people can go to do different like cultural activities.
Yes.
So like you might see like a 문화센터
Yeah,
in Korean.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Mhm.
where there might be like a basketball court or like rooms that you can take classes, like a sewing class.
Yes.
A way to bring culture and education to
Right.
the community.
Or like young kids after school programs.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
also part of a community
Or
center.
if you have like a festival, maybe
Yes.
like a festival would be at the community center.
Very good. Stephanie says, I guess it's a win-win for the locals and for tourists who can afford it. So this word win-win has become actually quite popular even in Korea.
Yeah, win-win.
Win-win. Yeah. So win-win.
So a win-win, of course, is where both sides are benefiting from something.
Right.
And like you said, you're about to say actually, win-win situation. We often put the word situation after it. It's a
Right.
win-win situation.
That's right. Okay. Let's go ahead and listen to that dialogue one more time.
After all this talk about over-tourism, where should we go for our next vacation?
I found one country we aren't visiting. This travel website says the government approved a $100 per day tourist tax.
They're shutting people out who don't have much money.
It looks like the government will be the only one on the gravy train from now on.
No, it says the money will be used to build community centers and better schools.
I guess it's a win-win for the locals and for tourists who can afford it.
Here we go. We're on pages 124 and 125. It's time for Power Note. If you shut someone out, it means you're excluding them. You're saying, no, you cannot come in. No, you cannot do it. Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting right now?
Yeah, but they shut me out of it for some reason.
So everyone's in the meeting, but you cannot join. You are shut out from the meeting.
Maybe they're firing you.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. I know I'm just a kid, but don't shut me out of family decisions.
So this is not necessarily where you're not allowed to go into the room,
Yeah.
but say for when you're a family, usually you don't let young children decide big things.
Sure.
Right? Mom and dad decide things, and they kind of shut out the children.
Right.
Like, what house are we gonna buy? You know?
Yeah.
Like, what car are we gonna buy?
Yeah. Kids don't participate.
Maybe they can choose the color of the car or something, you know, but like as far as how will we finance this? Will we take out a new mortgage?
Right.
Like, but other things, as you get older, you start getting included, usually, in family decisions.
Right.
It doesn't feel good to get shut out of a
Shut up.
decision.
That's right. And I mean, isn't this true that when you're a student in junior high school, elementary high school, and there's a certain group of friends, and then they shut
yes.
you out?
Yeah, they don't talk to you.
Oh,
You're
that
the
feels.
one stop.
Oh, it feels so bad. It feels so bad.
Yeah.
And in that context, we can say like, you know, being shut out from that circle of
Yeah.
friends.
You can also shut someone out of your life
Yes.
in like a romantic situation.
Sure.
Like some people, let's say they are not able to talk about their personal life,
Mhm.
their private life.
Mhm.
They keep it a secret.
Mm.
No, don't ask me about that.
Yeah.
They're shutting you out
Mhm.
of that.
Yeah.
Or they won't share their emotions with you.
Mhm.
They won't be honest and like vulnerable with you.
Right.
They're shutting you out of their life, out of
Right.
their heart. Yeah.
So it's that whole idea of just like closing that door.
Don't come in.
Yeah, don't come in.
You can't come in.
That's right. You
Mhm.
can't come in here. It's
Yeah.
exactly that feeling.
Mhm.
Okay. Gravy train is a job or a position that, you make a lot of money. It's too bad the beach restaurant won't be reopening next year.
I know. As a bartender, it was a gravy train during summer vacation.
Yeah. So it really made a lot of money. And I do feel like, is it hard-earned money?
Well, if you're a bartender, of course you are working, but there is the feeling that you're making much more money than the amount of effort you're putting in.
Yes. There is that feeling,
Mhm.
right? Like, yes, you're working hard, but it's like you're getting that extra without having to put more work.
Yeah.
Working as a stockbroker used to be a real gravy train before personal computers.
Yes. You know, my sister just became a broker.
Yes.
She just like passed the test she needed to.
Right.
And it is true in the US at the very least.
Mhm.
The system was if you wanted to buy stocks, you had to go through a broker,
Right.
right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Mhm.
People can do it themselves.
Mhm.
So like all of those brokerage fees that they used to have,
Yes.
they've gone away.
Really? So how do the brokers make money? Just from working in a company?
They have to do a lot of financial advising.
I see.
So they used to make money just by buying stocks,
Got it, yeah.
which is like super easy. But
Right.
people realized that that broker isn't really doing anything. They're just pushing a button
That's right.
and taking all my money,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The broker was on the gravy train,
That's right.
but
It
now,
was kind of easy money.
yeah, it was easy money.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have to study it,
Oh.
but now they have to work a lot harder to make money.
Right. So again, I do feel like if you're on the gravy train, it's you work hard, but making that money is a little easier than normal times.
Yeah,
There's that feeling.
there is that feeling.
Yeah. Okay. Win-win.
Win-win.
Yeah. Win-win.
It means that both sides, you're doing a deal, you're doing a transaction, and both sides are getting a benefit from it.
Okay. What do you think of the new minimum wage law?
I think it's a win-win for people with the new tax cut for employers.
Okay. So it's a win-win, meaning it's good for the employee and the employer. The peace treaty was a win-win for both countries.
Yeah, both countries benefited from ending the war, right?
So we talked about a win-win situation, but oftentimes it seems in both of these examples, it's a win-win.
Yeah, you can just say it's a win-win.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
I don't know if all of win-wins exist that much though.
Yeah, that's
Sounds good, you know?
it has to be equally beneficial.
Right. More often I feel like things are lose-lose, which is a phrase we say.
Yeah.
We do say it right.
It is.
So you can have a win-win situation or
And
a
a
lose-lose and a win-lose.
Okay.
And that would be the order we would say it. We would say a win-lose situation.
Okay.
We don't often say lose-win situation.
Yes.
For some reason, the order has to be win-lose.
Right, totally agree. Okay, our power pattern today is after all this talk about.
Yes.
So we talked about this so much that the result is this. After all this talk about food, I'm getting hungry.
I wasn't hungry before, but we talked about it a long time. After all this talk about crime, what can we actually do about it?
Right. So what should we do?
Yeah, we had a long conversation. Is there anything we can really do?
Yeah.
That is the feeling with this
Okay.
statement.
All right, very good. Our power vocab is the expression